If you're new here, welcome to Writing with Amanda Lee. If you saw my last video, welcome back. Last time, I showed you how I used track changes in Microsoft Word to edit my clients' projects. If you missed it, I'll leave the link in the description box below. This time, I'm going to go into a bit more detail about the process. I'm going to introduce you to style sheets, which help editors keep track of the changes they made and note why the changes were made to begin with. Once again, I want to encourage you to take a look at my website, writingwithamandalee.weebly.com, where you can find my terms of service, contract downloads, list of services and packages, and even my blog, where I write about the writing and editing process every week and share short stories. Like last time, I'm going to begin with the first edit, which is the formatting edit. It's pretty straightforward. I'm just going to go in and change the body and title format in the document. Once I've done that, I'm going to show you the style sheet. I'm going to come into the manuscript document and place the documents side by side. Now, I'm going to fill in the basic information on the style sheet. Then, I'm going to go down to Edit 1 and create a point list that labels the edits made to the document. You may be asking, why go to the extra effort? Well, this helps me keep track of the changes that I have made throughout the entire editing process. It also gives me something to provide the client at each turn-in. Next, I'm going to do a quick scan of a short story document and find any names of relevance for characters and locations. Then, I'm going to quickly jot them down in the style sheet to refer back to later. Once I have most of the names discovered, I'm going to go back through the document and scan at a slower pace so that I can find information about the characters and places. When that's done, I'm going to take a quick look at the terminology. Notice that no further editing has been done in the original document yet. We'll get there. But for now, we're just focusing on getting the primary information into the style sheet. Now, I'm going to go back into the style sheet and type in the most blatant word of terminology that needs to be defined within the document. After making note of this, I'm going to go back into the main document and add a comment asking the client to elaborate on this term. There are a few areas that could use clarification, but for time's sake, I'm just going to use Dragonfire for now. I need to know if the client planned to use this as a single word, as it is written in the document, or if they wanted to use two separate words. This comes down to preference on the author's part, but it is necessary to clarify for future inconsistencies. At this point, the document is ready to be sent back for client review. Once the clarifications that were requested are answered, and the changes made to the formatting are approved, I can get started on Edit 2. Let's start Edit 2 now. You can see here that I added some more comments to the document. You can also see in the style sheet that I added some responses from the client, highlighted in yellow. Comments may also be responded to in the primary document, but I did it this way to save some time since I'm using a ChatGPT-generated story instead of an actual client's work. Now that the formatting changes in Edit 1 have been approved, and I have answers to my questions, I can get started on Edit 2. Like last time, I'm going to stick to using the Grammarly suggested corrections for time's sake. But once I'm done, I'm going to do a more extensive edit that will be featured later in the video. I'm also going to go back into the style sheet to make a note of the new comment that was added during Edit 2, as well as adding the Grammarly corrections to the section under the Edit 2 header. With these corrections, I would typically write a brief explanation as to why these changes were made. To save time, I'm going to skip that step and come back when the document is edited and the style sheet is updated to completion. Because this is a lengthy document generated by ChatGPT for the purpose of this video, I'm going to upload the document with the revisions and comments directly into ChatGPT so that the software can respond as the author of the document. This will be a lengthy process, so I'm going to do it separately and show you the final draft before we begin Edit 3. Alright, on to the final edit. Here's the full document with all of the changes and comments noted in the margins. I'm going to accept the changes and turn off track changes for now. Then, I'm going to go into the style sheet where you can see the responses to most of the comments are highlighted in yellow. We aren't going to go through them here because that would take hours. However, I am going to show you the final document once I've completed the edits using track changes. I'm going to go in and accept the changes made to the document for what will serve as the final edit for this project. Then, I'm going to go through the document and mark comments as resolved where the client responded to them. You can see, once I've done this, that there are still comments that remain unresolved. This is because the client did not directly respond to the comments or inquiries made during their response. Since this is the final edit, there's nothing that I can do about it. However, the client may choose to purchase an additional revision or make the final payment upon approval of the track changes. Once a response has been sent to the client, providing them with the changes and remaining comments, they may opt into purchasing additional revisions, or they may just pay for what has been completed. In the case of the latter, I'm going to go back into the original document, accept the changes, and send the document to the client upon payment completion. There you have it, my full editing process, including how I use track changes, the stages of each edit, and how to respond to comments via the style sheet. Are you ready to get started with your own project? Shoot me an email at writingwithamandalee@gmail.com or get a better idea of my prices by checking out writingwithamandalee.weebly.com/services. You'll find a link down below in the description section.